There we go. She's totally out of control up there. Well, now we got this.
Should I go turn that off?
Yeah.
Hi to whoever's on.
Our lighting's going to be terrible tonight, guys. It is what it is. Bearded Fat Man, what's up, dude? I'm going to give you a shout out here in next video or two. Loving the channel, man.
Hey, Bearded Fat Man.
And curious if you got that gimbal yet, or if you're going to get that gimbal, because, man, you're going to build new muscles in that arm from holding the phone up when you're vlogging. Boot Hill Brian, what's up, man? How's it going? Mr. Hopper.
Don't worry, Hopper.
We're not gonna name drop, but we gotta have some fun with it, Hopper. They always say don't feed the trolls, but we like to give them some fish food. We don't feed the trolls; we just drop a little in a tank, watch them swim around. Inside, he's like, what? We'll give it a couple seconds here.
So how is everybody else going before I get into my not super exciting?
Yeah, Boot Hill, well, she's going to give an update on that.
I'm not dead yet, so I can put that out there.
Bring out your dead.
Not currently dead.
Bring out your dead. I'm not dead yet. Bearded Fat Man, I was just watching your live stream of Johnson's Logic when I get this notification. Not yet. I got to get some bills paid. Since training pays low. Yeah. I remember TNT.
And Bearded Fat Man, if I'm not here, how is Eric going to know how old he is? So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that Eric's going to have to figure out how to do on his own if I'm not around. So I got to stick around, I guess.
Yeah. So she's going to just did a driver change. I'm in the bin. Oh, gotcha. You're in the sleeper. Good. Good, Hopper. So let's see who we got. Boot Heel, Hopper, Bearded Fat Man, and some lurkers. So I want to address the first part of the title of this. She's pregnant.
No, not pregnant.
I want to address the first part of the title of this because obviously it's going to be on YouTube after the live. So how do I start with this? Just so you guys know, first of all, we have an incredibly thick skin. Just from the world that we come from before trucking, put us through some pretty serious decades of training for me personally, on taking incoming fire from other personalities, I guess we should say. And I always get a kick out of hearing people talk smack. Like even I had a comment on a video that I uploaded today. Somebody talking smack, and I let those comments stand, and I just kind of laugh at them. But we always get a kick out of when someone's talking smack, especially when they're hiding behind a tree somewhere in the forest or in the back pew of the church, throwing grenades up to those in the front of the church. Always cracks me up. So I'm not going to name drop or bust anyone out, but there is a trainer at Prime who apparently talked some smack on us and said that we have no original bones in our bodies because we use the phrase driver lineup as our brand, which is it literally has me cracking up on so many fronts. First of all, if you don't get on YouTube and create videos, but you're going to tell someone else that they're not creative, then I really have to question the credibility right out of the gate. Because what the hell are you creating? And second of all, you could say driver lineup's not creative because Prime has driver lineup, but that's just a complete misunderstanding of what the objective was. And driver lineup is actually pretty successful to use as a YouTube channel, because I don't know if the person who's talking to smack notices, but this channel's growing at a pretty fast pace. We're like 3 months old and we have almost 700 subscribers. We have videos that get viewed 3, 4, 5,000 times. So it works because it's a brand that a lot of Prime drivers are familiar with. And driver lineup is not a copyright. There's driver lineup at NASCAR. There's driver lineup at FedEx. Lots of places have a driver lineup. It's where you go to take information and receive information.
Yes, Rhett. Whatever makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside.
Yeah, that was a comment I responded to. So it cracks me up. Look, and if you're gonna leave us shitty comments on YouTube, you gotta realize that the more comments a video has, the better that it does, because people see it has lots of comments. So if you want to talk smack in the comments, talk smack in the comments. Leave us 4 or 5.
Not you, Rick. But great point to join in.
Leave us 4 or 5. Like, make sure you talk a lot of smack so that it makes it look like our videos have lots of comments. But when I heard this, I was like, okay, well, this gives me a great opportunity to talk about driver lineup, because I say driverlineup.com at the beginning of every video. But I don't really talk in every video about what its objective is. And
also, thanks for caring enough about us to take time out of your day to hate on us. That's fabulous. Yeah, we're glad that we mean enough to you that you would take time out of your day to talk about us.
What's the old saying in media? If you're not taking flack, no one's paying attention to you, or you're not relevant. So if we're taking flack, then we're relevant. So I'd rather be relevant and have flack coming my way than to be not relevant and nobody talking about us, good or bad. So, but driver lineup, the whole concept is because, like at FedEx or like at NASCAR, or, you go to a FedEx facility, there's a driver lineup. When you go to Prime, there's a driver lineup. It's where drivers take information and get information. You take your bills to driver lineup and you get your bills to driver lineup. You drop off trailers and loads, you get trailers and loads to driver lineup. That's the whole concept of what driverlineup.com is. It's a social network for Prime drivers and really any other drivers. There's 150 drivers on there. So I love that there's a Prime trainer out there who's, they don't have a creative bone in their bodies. When they're talking about something that's actually pretty successful for us, and you're talking about us. So that in and of itself proves that it's successful, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be talking about us, So I love it. I love it, man. We're on the car driving over here, and Jenna is looking at me, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're just gonna mock that because it's freaking great.
Eric's classier than I am, because I'm more like high school, take my earrings off and be like, put my hair back and be like, all right, let's meet behind the gym.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Rick, you're cracking me up right now. All right, so I'm noticing people are asking about, the doctor's appointment and everything, so I guess I'll get into that. So forgive me for being a little bit like, I don't know. I don't like talking about me. But I guess I'll just get into it. So pretty much I injure very easily. So there are a few people who are aware that a few months back we were getting ready to go on the road. We were coming off of home time, and I had literally sprained my ankle, or what I thought was sprained my ankle, carrying my duffel bag on solid floor here in the house. Didn't fall, didn't anything. I just took a step and there was a, joint pop that was loud enough that Eric could hear it upstairs. And
it was gnarly.
So it was kind of freaky. But I'm also not one to just kind of give in to stuff like that. So I got on the truck like a trooper. We told our fleet manager, because our load was going to PA. told our fleet manager that we were going to go and get it checked out. Like I could function, you know. So I would get it checked out, you know, at the urgent care when we got to PA, and I did. And they looked at it and were like, you know, it might be a sprain. Everything's fine. You know, x-rays look good. But it just kept on. It wasn't really healing and everything. So because I've had 2 reconstructive surgeries on my right ankle, because this was my left ankle, which is my good ankle, Eric got a little bit concerned, you know, because he doesn't want me to have 2 bum ankles. So I went to a specialist back here in Springfield. Well, that surgeon specialist guy, when he took a look at my ankles, he was like, you know, let me see your knees. Let me see your elbows. Kind of took a look at my shoulder. Let me see your hands, and starts moving my hands around. And I can kind of illustrate the problem really quickly here. So if you're squeamish, I apologize, but I'm ridiculously flexible. Like apparently that, you know, it's not normal.
Make that the thumbnail.
So he totally almost lost his lunch when he was manipulating my hands, and sent me up to another specialist at Barnes Jewish Hospital in St. Louis, which is University of Washington. They believe that I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a connective tissue disorder that basically means your ligaments and everything like that are not, like, your collagen's messed up. So like your joints and everything, like they always move outside of the range of motion. That, why is everybody congratulating you? Sorry. Anyways, your joints always move outside of where they should. Like they're always hyperextending.
I don't know what I'm getting congrats for.
I don't know. I'm guessing something about the bendy thing, maybe.
Oh.
I don't know. But so yeah. Anyways, the problem with that is because everything in your body is like made up of collagen. So like connective tissues, you know, your ligaments, your bones, everything, your blood vessels and stuff like that. So oh my God, it's so terrible. But yeah, the issue comes into play of like sometimes that particular disorder can affect your heart. So because of that, we have to make sure that my heart is good and that I'm not at risk for like aortic aneurysm or anything weird like that. Yeah, so that's easier.
And she did, she did get results of her test back. She hasn't got the explanation back of her first series of tests of blood work.
Yeah, I got some blood results, which basically, so they were testing to see before they pursue, because like Ehlers-Danlos is like a really rare thing. It's like a very rare disorder, and they wanted, before they start chasing that down a rabbit hole, because that's kind of like a medical unicorn, they wanted to rule out lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, and everything like that. And apparently all of that blood work looks like it came back perfectly fine. Like, so according to my blood work, I look like I'm the picture of health, which normally that would be a good thing, except for that makes it even more likely that it's something like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Yeah, and the results on the heart side
might have been a little bit, that might have showed some sort of an issue.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% sure on that. Like I'm not a doctor, so I have to wait for the doctor to call and say, but yeah.
So basically, we're still in limbo until probably January, which she has to go back for a echocardiogram
to make sure that all of my blood vessels and heart look okay.
But she, you know, doctors have given no reason for her not to drive the truck right now. So, you know, she's still totally clear on physical and totally clear to drive truck. So right now things are not changed, and we're very happy about that. But we'll know in January. So, but it is confirmed I am a circus freak. So we do know that much. She's extremely bendy for the fellas interested. Oh my God. See, this is why I don't. Yeah. So anyway, that's our update on the smack talk out there. which again we love, and our update on the on Jenna's current situation. So with that said, now that we got our explanations out there on two things for the first 15 minutes, for those watching this when it's not live, definitely take some time to talk about anything you guys want to talk about.
Hey, Jeffro.
What's up, Jeffro? Rhett, big guy. I saw Hog Rider. He was one of the shit talkers, I think.
Yeah, he's in here. And Hog Rider, who doesn't love the 80s though? Like, I mean, seriously though, because it's coming back. It's in fashion. Like those plastic earrings that look like shower curtain rings and stuff. People pay top dollar for that now.
Yeah, sorry, Jeffro, you missed the. Jenna's fine for now. There's a summary. We find out more in January. So yeah. So anything you guys want to talk about? I did do a video earlier, so just give us topics, ask questions if you want. We'll stay live for a little while longer. I did do a video earlier, kind of giving an update. I told you guys a couple of days ago we ain't going nowhere until possibly the 7th, if they'll let us drive up and take a brand new trailer. If they'll let us bobtail up and take a brand new trailer out of Indiana. But as of I think tonight at midnight, they're doing mandatory COVID tests at the terminal through the 7th. So yeah, we're not going to the terminal. Perfectly healthy. We have no interest whatsoever in going to the terminal and being tested and then having to sit in the truck at the terminal for 24 hours waiting for results when we could just sit at home. So either they let us bobtail up to get a brand new trailer in Indiana on the 7th.
We're not talking about you, Hog Rider. It was something else. You jumped in after we already explained what it was about. It's not you.
Yeah,
we're busting your balls right now just for fun. But no, it's something else.
I just got to throw something out there to mess with you guys now and then. Is that only through the 7th? Like if I come in around January? Yeah. Well, I don't know, Jeffro. We talked about this last time we were live. I'm gonna suggest you assume that after Christmas and New Year's, they're probably gonna do the same thing. So
and we'll do our best to like update and explain what's going on.
We'll communicate that as much as possible, but so the reason they're doing it this week is because Thanksgiving was just ended and everybody's coming back from home time. So they're trying to test everybody's coming back from home time. And so I would assume that, Christmas and New Year's is going to be the same thing. Now, when we get out there on the road on the 7th or 8th, whichever day it is, we're not coming home until January 7th. Or January 8th. So our hope is that we bypass, whatever happens post Christmas and New Year's, and can come back and clear that testing period too.
And I saw the comment before it got retracted. I don't think that was a bad comment. Were we asking when I'm going to do a bendy YouTube channel? Because
it reminds me of that YouTube channel, you guys. Will it blend? We could do one for Jenna. Will it bend? Yeah, Texas hotspot for the Rona, I believe. Well, certain parts of Texas. I know that trucking and plucking, or plucking and trucking. I get trucking that. And plucking. Trucking and plucking. I went and met with him at Campus Inn the other night. Was last night? Yeah, for a little while, and he was coming from Orlando, Florida. So, and Orlando is considered a hot spot. So but for this particular week, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if it's a hot spot or not. It doesn't, even if you're home time, if you've been on the road, it doesn't matter. If you go to a terminal, any prime terminal between the 3rd and the 7th of December, you're getting a COVID test. And you have to wait for a positive result before you can access the rest of the terminal. So. Should be William Poe. Yeah, Jenna put the driver code in there if you're coming to Prime, it'd be killer if you use that driver code. Check my videos for my phone number and text us, because we try to stay in touch with all of our referrals throughout the whole process. I also have a great recruiter you can talk to. Should be down to Prime in a few weeks. Caught the damn COVID.
No.
It was nothing but a week cold for a few days at best. Way too much hype for what it is. Was supposed to be there around the 7th. Man, I'm going to totally agree with you. We try not to get into the politics of this Kung flu, but we were just at Sam's Club, you guys.
COVIDs is the other.
We were just at Sam's Club. I could not effing breathe wearing a damn mask. Like, it's just driving me crazy. I can't. I try all these different masks. They make my nose break out. I can't breathe in them. I have to get the ones with the metal that push down, little metal bars, because otherwise breath is going right into my eyeballs. But if I have that one, then I can't breathe through the mask. I'm getting sick of it, man. And I know there's a lot of people coming down that are testing positive for COVID. There's another YouTuber,
Southern
Belle.
Get well soon.
Yeah,
so sorry.
Sorry that she's going through that. It sucks. It doesn't sound like she didn't even know. She didn't even know she was sick. She's like sitting there with this, sitting there doing a video of like, I'm scared. I don't know what this is going to result in. Like, nobody's talking about the flu anymore. Apparently the common flu is gone. Like, it just vanished and we don't have that anymore. It's freaking bizarre. But anyway, I digress. Boy, I could go on a tangent on that forever. I'm just sick of the whole mask thing.
Yeah, I know, Hog Rider, like, because it freaks me out. And I was even making a joke on Johnson's Logic's live last night, the one he did with Eric, because I'm like, look, I already know I get injured easily. I don't need them to accidentally jab it up my nose too far and puncture my brain, and then I'm going to have even more problems.
Make sure he's not scratching the door. There's a lot of our dogs. She's behind bars right now, and I think she's tearing the door up. It's full plastic face shield. Yeah, and here's something I just said when we were on our way in, thinking about all the people that are testing positive for COVID that don't even know they're sick, and they just kind of go through these minor symptoms, especially with Prime. This is not a knock on Prime, but Prime has gone above and beyond with as many measures as possible, as many preventative measures as possible. How is it that people are still getting it? Like, if all these things are supposed to work, if the mask and all this stuff is supposed to work, how is it? Like, there's literally people on YouTube saying, I didn't know I was sick. I got tested. I'm positive. I've always worn a mask. I even wear a mask sometimes when I'm not around anybody, but yet they still test positive. Like, none of these preventative measures work. It's aggravating. Anyway.
It's because they didn't have their safety vest on when they were driving in their car with their mask on by themselves.
Yeah,
you need the safety vest too.
We saw a truck not too long ago, a driver on the interstate in PA with a safety vest and a mask on, driving his truck by himself down the interstate at 65 miles per hour. Bruh.
I just have to throw out my favorite Kung Flu moment I've seen to date, which was someone with a mask on and they had rubber gloves on. It's in the beginning of COVID. And they were eating a slice of pizza. So they were taking the mask off to eat the pizza because they got it at Sam's Club. And they were eating the pizza with the glove that they're using to touch the cart. And then, taking the mask off. So it's what is the glove doing if you're touching everything and then you're going to touch the food and then eat the food with the glove that you touched everything and then put the mask back on? Some of it just.
Yeah, ProPilot, you're right. I was just talking to Trucking and Plugging about that the other day. It is a liability issue for Prime. Mm-hmm. Prime can't have customers blaming Prime for outbreaks, these meat plants and stuff. Prime has to take as many steps as it can to say that it's taken as many steps as it can. And also, Prime on its YouTube channel did say that they were not going to mandate vaccines. But I'm not convinced that our customers are not going to start requiring it, because these are food, cheese plants, meat plants. They could at any point say drivers can't come in unless they have proof of vaccination. So on that side, Prime probably isn't even going to have to mandate it. It's probably going to be something done, if it does get done, something done by the FMCSA or whatever it is, where essential workers, it gets mandated federally, or where customers are going to basically require it. So that's kind of freaking me out. Yeah. But we'll tackle that bull when it charges.
But the irony is that when all of these shippers and receivers across the board, like, not diming anybody out, like, they all just kind of freaked out. Like, we heard from tons of drivers, all kinds of companies saying that they were locked out of the shipping offices and stuff. You can't go into the bathroom, like, they would come to your truck and hold up a Ziploc bag for you to put the bills in. And like, so they got really extreme with how they were treating us drivers, because apparently we're all lepers, but they still had outbreaks at these warehouses and at these meat plants and at these factories and stuff like that. So it's like, it's just hard, because we understand, like, the concern, which is you have unknown people coming in, and you don't know what precautions they're taking. But for us, like, a lot of these places are more of a risk to us than we are a risk to them, because we're isolated in our trucks, and we keep it clean. So it's just, anyway, it's a crummy situation all around.
We better stop talking about Kung Flu, because YouTube's going to be like, hey, this is in dispute.
Yeah.
YouTube could jam us down. Anyway, any questions about trucking? Prime, Johnson's Logic said that on a video. What did he say? I haven't watched his video. We just saw him. We had to take
we brought him a purple cushion.
A purple cushion. So we were just with him before we got to the house. What Jenna just said. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then we gave him a very special hat to make his trainee, his new student, wear.
So yeah, I haven't seen his video today. I know he did put one up. I saw him driving his truck, so that's good news.
It looked pretty.
We're quarantining your truck. Yeah, we totally are. And that's why I'm frustrated with it. Here I go talking about this again. That's why I'm frustrated about the requirement to test this week at the terminal, because yes, we've been home, but we've just been together. Like, hasn't been tons of family, or there's been nobody at our house. We haven't been at any gatherings. The only people that we've socialized with are at Prime, where we get our temperature checked, and all that stuff. So, like, we're not, anyway, it's cost your medical reasonable with Prime. Jenna has, like, the Cadillac plan. What do you pay?
I honestly don't even know. It's a little over $100 a week right now, because when I hit my second year at Prime, the cost goes down to like almost half. So, I mean, it's a little expensive right now just for me. Like, I want to say it's like, for some reason, I think it's like $110 a week or something like that, but I'm getting my money's worth.
And it's really good insurance. Mm-hmm. And she has the best plan, right? You have the top plan. Yeah. So she's.
I invest in the top tier plan because I know I'm going to need it. Like, when I went through orientation and they're like, oh, most people just get the lower plan. And I'm like, no, where's the Cadillac of medical insurance? Read through everything. I'm like, I'll take that. I'll take accidental injury.
It was a lot more. It was definitely a lot more expensive in her first year. But after the first year, so has it gone? I'm sorry, did you say it did?
It goes down in the second year.
Okay, so it's about to go like down by half, I think. It goes down a lot. Prime starts subsidizing that a lot. So there's a question, what's your top 3 states to get loads out of? Oh, top 3 states to get loads out of.
Hog rider. I hate the entire Northeast. Just so
For me, probably, honestly, and this may sound surprising to a lot of people, but I would probably say Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky for my top 3 states to get loads out of.
When do we get out on the road again?
Either the 7th or the 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah, David does say that. David does say that. He'll say no politics on the channel and then trash Biden. Funny.
Yeah, I got him going. I got him going the other day because he was saying he had like 1 pallet in the back of his truck, and I asked him if it was pallets of votes for Biden. I got him all riled up.
Who does solar? Well, let me go back to that. I'll get to your question, TC Gone, but getting back to that top 3 states, I say Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky because of the type of loads that we like to take.
Was Kentucky the place where they had the McDonald's cheese?
No, that was here in Missouri.
Oh, okay.
But we get the kind of loads you can't really talk about. We do, those kinds of loads out of those 3 states. And there's meat loads. There's good paying meat loads just down there on the Indiana and Kentucky border. There's good UPS loads in Kentucky. So all kinds of good loads around Columbus area. And then within 150 miles of Indianapolis in pretty much any direction, there's good paying loads. So
Jim says my insurance won't technically go down. My allowance will just go up and the truck will have to pay more.
So TC Gone Trucking, who does solar drive and who does nighttime, or you do whatever's needed?
Solar.
Yeah, she's exclusively daytime and I'm exclusively nighttime. So I drive at night, she drives at day. Now we don't have a set time. It's not like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Sometimes in the morning, if I've got a clock left and don't need to have my clock back early in the evening, I'll just keep driving in the morning just to enjoy the sunrise and let her wake up a little bit slower. So, because usually as soon as the sun comes up in the morning, I get like a 4th and 5th wind. If I've got more time, I just itch to just keep going and pound out some more miles. I like to start driving probably around 11 p.m. So usually what we try to do is time our loads so that we can shut down by 4:30 or 5 in the evening, get parked, get some good sleep while the truck's not moving, and then I'll get up and like shower and do some, get ready to go at 11:30, 12 o'clock, and then do my night drives. We'd like to do that every day. If we can do that every day, then we're pretty happy. Some loads, of course, you just gotta freaking run, and you can't. Truck just stops to fuel, so we'll switch at a fuel pump. But we try not to run that way. So we try to. I think probably the best way to say it for us is we like to be a 700 to 800 mile a day truck. So we're running basically super solo is what we try. Let's see. You're on a load out of Kentucky right now. Yeah. Eric, like what you talked about on the live yesterday. Oh, thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that. That was fun with Johnson's Logic. Talking about making right turns. I think about that. Yeah. When I came to training, that was one of the things that just baffled me is how the hell do you turn a truck right?
Yeah.
At a right light. I mean, left makes sense, right? Because you got the whole intersection. So before I ever drove a truck like that, I wasn't really scared of. Plus, we had a 36-foot RV, that towed a vehicle. So we were used to kind of a long vehicle, but
he would never let me drive the RV.
She drove it a couple times.
I drove it once. Yeah. He let me drive it once. I didn't do anything bad, but he just was terrified of the idea of me driving.
We didn't have logs, so I could just drive all I wanted in the RV. But But in truck, man, I just couldn't fathom how you would make a right turn at a where you're turning from one right lane into another right lane in an intersection. I think getting back to what my last video was, if you use two simple concepts, and one is take all the space you can get when you're making that right turn. You want to go right out, and you'll learn where your bumper's at to clear the car. If there's a car sitting over there in the left turn lane getting ready to turn left, like it'll look like you're about to cream that car, but you just learn, you start to learn where your truck is, and you can get it turned in enough time. So take as much room as you can and know where your ass is. As long as you know where your ass is, you shouldn't, it turns out that turning right is a lot easier than I thought it would be.
We skip Brian.
Brian, do you know if take their medical insurance? No, you don't have to take it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Is that where we are?
Yeah.
Okay, pro pilot, if you're solo, lost you. If you're solo and you're willing to run hard, best bet is Northeast Regional. If you run right, fleet manager, average gross. Yeah, I think that's about right. Average gross for me as solo was 4,500 to 6,000 a week probably as solo. And I did a lot of PA. I didn't do a whole lot of New Jersey, and well, that's not true. We did juice loads and stuff in New Jersey. But I didn't get like the cross country ice cream loads and stuff like that when I was solo. But yeah. Is it better to have someone else do your tax service rather than going through Prime? I've heard that quite a few times from Prime employees, past and present. What do you think? I like Abacus, but I think the proper expectations of Abacus. I think some people have the wrong expectations of Abacus. The benefit of Abacus to me is that they have access right into all my settlements, and they're giving me very accurate quarterly estimates on my taxes. So that to me is just a huge benefit. So I'll take their quarterly estimate, which is based on all the things that they know, like all the things coming off my settlement, my purchase orders, my fuel, tolls, truck payment, all that stuff. They're going to take that off, and then I'll take what I know we spent that Abacus doesn't know about. And that gives me a really good idea throughout the year of what I owe in taxes. To expect that they're going to be like your personal CPA calling you every other day, that's not going to happen. So we actually pay someone else to do our taxes at the end of the year, taking what Abacus sends us. And and I thought it was going to be very complex. It wasn't. It was actually a really easy process. How do you do right turn if there's a car in an intersection where you want your truck to go into that lane? Well, if it's that tight, you're either going to hope that car backs up or goes or GTF out of the way.
Most of the time, when the trucking gods are kind and you're in that situation and you're just praying no car comes or that somebody is courteous enough to back up, a lot of times you'll see people pull up and then they realize you're about to back up and there's nobody behind them and they back up. Like, for whatever reason, the trucking gods are fairly kind in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, think of yourself in a four-wheeler and you see a semi making a right turn directly at you. What do? You back up, or you get out of the way in most cases if you can. And that's what happens most times. There's only been a few occasions where I've been like, oh, this isn't going to happen.
Yeah, and like Hopper says, wider right turns, and also don't take your right turns at 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, taking a turn at 80 miles an hour is best described by two words: critical event.
It wasn't really 80, but his rim looked like 80.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I just added that part.
Hopper. Well, I don't know if he wants me. I'll just say Hopper made a set of rims
look like tacos.
Look like a set of rims I've never seen before. It was the most unique set of rims that I've ever seen in my life on a trailer. It was epic. So
we love you, Hopper.
Bravo, Hopper. Like, you did that at a professional level. Like that was,
I'm kind of sad I couldn't get a hold of them to bronze them into like a nice coffee table, have them like fabricated into a special piece of commemorative furniture. Like,
I almost wonder if that's where you got your nickname.
Hopping curbs.
Curb Hopper.
Hopper's never gonna come on here again.
So I don't know if I'm answering the question properly on.
That's not a dumb question at all.
The right turns, but it's hard to explain unless you're just in that real world environment. I'll just say that it wasn't as terrifying and as difficult as I thought it would be before I actually did it.
Why don't these messages keep getting
message retracted? It's weird. How much different do you drive regarding your rear end on cornering based on how far back your tandems are?
It's a great question, but
I think the more you drive, I think where both of us are at now in our career, which is still pretty young, 2 years for me and a year for her. But I think that both of us have advanced to a point now where we drive the truck almost the same, no matter where the tandems are. Now early, it did make a big difference because here's why I say that, because if the tandems are in the 9th hole, or if the tandems are in the 5th hole, I'm still going to take as much room as I can take. So I'm going to act, it doesn't matter where the tandems are, I'm going to act like they're in the 12th hole. You know what I mean? I'm going to act like that, like it's going to be harder to take that turn. So I'm not going to say to myself, well, it's in the 4th hole, so the tandems are closer to the tractor so I can take sharper turns, because to me, I'm going to turn the truck the same no matter where the tires are. Now, can you make more difficult turns with the tandems further up than you can back? Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. It makes a big difference. I think what the times where it's really caught me off guard early in my driving, like in my first 3 to 6 months, is like when you enter a meat plant and they make you go to the 12th hole or push the tandems all the way back before you enter the plant. And then you go in and you're like navigating around a parking lot and you try to swing around into a pull through spot. That's when it'll catch you, because all of a sudden you're like, stop the truck, because I don't know where my ass is, and I'm pretty sure I'm about to slam into the trailer next to me, because if the tandems are all the way back on the trailer, you can't make forward turns the way you can if they're in like the 10th or further up. But now conversely, if the tandems are all the way back, it's much easier to back into a spot because you don't have the tail end of that trailer swinging around. So yeah.
What's funny is it just reminds me of when we were practicing on the pad and I was brand new. A lot of other trailers kept staring at our pad because I was really struggling, and I thought they were staring at our pad because I was struggling to do some of the backing maneuvers. And I started to get them down and everything like that. And what's funny is Eric actually just played it off as he was a genius, because by the time our pad time was over, another trainer walked over and said, man, that's really hardcore that you would have her doing all these backing maneuvers with the tandems all the way forward. Yeah, because they normally have you practice with them in the
12th hole.
In the 12th hole, which makes
because you test
easier.
In the 12th hole.
Yeah. So they were like, oh, that's like the most hardcore thing we've ever seen. And you had her doing some of those maneuvers with 0 points, because he would be like, do it again. So these people just thought he was just
But brutal. You know what? So the first night I had her on the pad backing in with the tandems all the way up. But when she went back and did straight backs and offsets with the tandems in a 12th hole, it was like, she was just nailing them.
Yeah.
Because she was expecting it to be swinging a lot more. Going back to Jeff, you asked, let's see, Jeff S. Trailers swung differently if the tandems were up further. Yeah, you do have to be very mindful when you're pulling out of a spot because the tail end of your trailer is obviously going to swing. It doesn't swing as much as you'd think it would, but if you start turning too soon when you're coming out of a spot, like between two trucks, you definitely can take off the door or the mirror of the truck on the other side. But again, that gets back to always use all the space you have. So if you're at a rest area, don't think, well, my tandems are further up, so I can start turning sooner to get out because I'm going to be able to clear the truck on the side I'm turning around, because the other end could hit the other truck that you can't see. So if you just always go all the way up to that curb, use as much space as you have to get out of a spot, and then start turning at the very end. I mean, like where your tire is almost rubbing against the curb, then your tail end should be coming out of that spot with enough time to where it can just swing wide and it's not going to hit anything.
Jeffro, Abacus has an office at Prime, so you can. They're not Prime, but
they're
they
a national third-party accounting firm.
They just have a close relationship with Prime, and they do have an office on site, which makes it really easy to work with them.
Yeah, you can go in there and get settlements printed out and tax documents or any of that kind of stuff. It's right there at Prime.
Titus Shipper.
Oh, Titus Shipper, Bass Pro in Springfield. It was the only shipper that I had to bail out.
And Curtis, Trike Rider Trucking.
He did the same thing, so I didn't feel so bad. Now, there was another Prime driver so Bass Pro in Springfield, they have this trailer lot that you have to go drop the trailers off, and it's freaking ridiculous. I actually tried it. This is right when I got my Peterbilt too, so I was trying to learn.
Oh yeah, it was literally it was the first trip out.
Trying to learn it back with this new truck too. But the fronts of the trailers were so close that I was like Austin Powers, with a little golf cart in the hallway, just reverse, neutral. It was Lyle calls it no man's land. It was just never gonna happen. And there's this other Prime driver that was parked over just watching this, and so, I'm trying to be like, I'm going to make this happen. I'm trying to force it. It just was not going to happen. Like, not even close either. It wasn't like, well, if I reposition and try it it just wasn't even close. So I finally bailed out and I straight backed over to this other section that we weren't supposed to leave the trailers. And I popped both air brakes and just got out, started unhooking my hoses. And I thought, well, I'm going to watch him go try it. So he pulls in and straight backs right next to me and gets out and says,
I'm so glad you guys did that.
Dude, I'm so glad you bailed out. He's like, because if you did it, I was going to have to try and do it. I was like, man, I didn't give a shit. Like, I realized that just was not going to happen. So I was like, the yard dog can come yell at me or whatever. And then a couple months later, this was actually just a couple weeks ago, Trike Rider Trucking, as she said, Curtis said that he couldn't do it at the Bass Pro. He had to have the yard dog come do it. So that was the toughest. Now, we've had some doors, especially the little tiny places that cater to like restaurants where you'll take meat loads to, that they only have like one door in a strip mall. There was one in South Carolina.
The one right across the street from Zaxby's.
Yeah. That it's the fence in front of it was like basically laying down. Like it had been hit by so many trucks that it was laying down. And the best I could do to get to that door was have the left side of the trailer up against it had bumped the dock, but the right side of the trailer was like 4 feet from the dock, so that's how angled I was. And then they were like, we'll make it work. We'll just drop a ramp over there and we'll make it work. Because there was just no way possible to get the truck straight to that.
And they had those little the little push pallet jack things. So they were like, this happens all the time. They're like, this isn't made for a full size truck. It's made for box trucks. They were impressed that he was able to even get it
to the
that close. Like,
yeah. So there's some tight ones, and some of the U.S. foods are just awful. They're awful because, well, the one in Pennsylvania, the U.S. foods in Pittston or Scranton.
Yeah, it's Scranton. But
it's a concrete wall where if there's a truck on both sides, it's not happening.
But to their defense, they are so organized at that location. So they have everybody line up outside, like just off to the side of the docks. And then they start putting you in one by one. So they put one all the way down at the end, then the next one, you know, so then they have everybody go out in the same order.
Yeah. So they'll put you in the docks left to right, and then finish and get everybody moving out of the docks right to left, because you can't get out of the dock if there's a truck to your right. There's just not enough. You'll take out half the tractor.
The downside is you have to be prepared to sit there for a while.
Yeah, Lyle was there, and he had that problem too. And he'd mentioned it on his channel, No Hippie Trucking Transportation. So the places we've had problems, we've seen our fellow YouTubers have problems at those same places. So at least that gives me some peace of mind. But U.S. Foods is always like that. I don't think like there's in United Foods, like in Denver.
Unfee,
yeah.
Unify or whatever.
Some places it's not so much that there's not room, it's that there's so much chaos where there's just always trucks coming and going and moving everywhere. That's where I get more nervous. Like if it's a tough spot and it's just me, you know, and I've got time to think it through and set up my maneuver right, then I'm comfortable with that. It can be one of the hardest spots in the country. And if there's no other trucks driving around, I'll deal with that. It's when there's 50 other trucks and everybody's trying to get to doors and nobody cares about what you're trying to do. You know, there are yard dogs going behind you as you're backing into doors. That's where I start getting Tourette syndrome and, you know, wanting to punch throats.
Jeffro, you could, if you're very confident in your ability to do taxes. I mean, there's nothing saying that you can't. Would we? No. But if you're confident and you've done your taxes, like a lot of people have, you know, been 1099 or run their own businesses for a long time, you know, and they're comfortable doing it. We personally aren't, but there's no reason you couldn't as long as you know what you're doing.
Yeah, Jim C. Never teamed with your wife, but never could take 6 hours off a day. Wish, yeah. See, we have a lot of control over that, and sometimes we run hard for a few days, and then we don't run hard at all for a few days, and that's because that's the way we dictate that our truck is going to run. Do you still use a CB?
All
Absolutely.
the time.
Every single day. I talk on the CB all night long, and then when I'm driving, I'll hear Jenna talking. Of course, her being a female driver, all the trucks out there want to talk to her. So
sometimes,
especially if I'm not in the front
seat. The conversation is a little bit more unique when I'm up front.
Yeah, some of it can be rather foul, but hilarious.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'm really, really just mean.
Sometimes people are mean to her because she's the one who saves fuel when she drives. I'll just put it that way. So other drivers get pretty upset. I do 65 almost all the time. So see, is that still a thing? Yeah, it's CB use is especially big in just certain cities, and it's not just certain southern cities or northern cities. It's just certain cities like Atlanta. Always lots of CB chatter. Up in Wyoming, always lots of CB chatter. Chicago, you know, but then you can go through Dallas and not hear a peep. So it's weird. It's just certain cities where there's a lot of people using. But we saw an accident, it was a couple weeks ago, where obviously someone didn't have a CB because if they would have had a CB, there were other drivers on the CB actively saying, all stop, brake check, you got a hard stop. And they were saying exactly what mile marker it was at, why you needed to stop. And somehow there were still trucks slamming into the situation. So I try to sometimes, if we're talking back and forth, if we're on the phone, turn it down a little bit. But
well, it's because we were trying to get away with doing it without you on here, Ross.
Yeah, Ross, we ask YouTube to not send you a notification.
We found settings to make it so that it never notifies you. Are the tandems all the way up during your CDL test? I believe they are.
When you take the road test, your trainer can choose wherever they want the tandems. They should have the tandems all the way up. So I would even ask your trainer. I mean, most trainers are like, they want you to pass because they want you to pass, So but if I don't know, I've heard of trainers forgetting to move the tandems up. So when you're on the pad and you're doing your backing maneuvers, you're gonna have the tandems in the 12th hole. When you pass that and get ready for your road test, they'll have you go out and move your tandems to whatever position you want your student to go out and do the road test on. Should have the tandems all the way up.
Jeffro, he has a little cheat for the tandems, which is he says, "Hey Jenna, go put the tandems at this hole." Yeah. So because normally you kind of get used to where they're at and you would just move the truck and get out and check. And with him, he just says, "Hey, I want it in the 5th hole or the 6th hole or whatever," and then I go out there and tell him forward or backwards and stop.
Yeah, and I always look, like in my trailer inspection when I pick up a trailer, I always look and see,
because you have to physically look at it outside.
You should be, when you're inspecting a trailer, looking to see what hole you're in. And we're very good on my truck at figuring out where the tandem should be on weight. We're right almost every single time. Like right on the hole. We rarely, I think maybe once we've had to move the tandems after getting on a scale.
Brian, 12th hole is to the back. So the lower the number, the closer forward. So the closer to the tractor. The higher the number, the further back they are.
Maybe why. Yeah, Jim C. Yeah, that would definitely be why. We don't go to California. Pay taxes quarterly or annually. No comment on that. You guys met Rob Lowe before. I hear he's always playing basketball. He used to before Kung Flu. He's playing there every week.
He also, before Kung Flu, used to drop in at the Oasis and just chit chat with drivers that were hanging out at the restaurant.
Oh yeah, Hopper, I know what you're talking about. And also that makes me think of another one. Crap, I didn't think of the one, Albert's Organics in LA. That's another door that I absolutely loathe. Albert's Organics in LA, you have to basically block all traffic on an avenue, and 90-degree, you have to do a whole U-turn off the street backwards, get your trailer into the lot, and then you like a horseshoe, your trailer into the dock around other trucks. It is crazy. You cannot pull truck first into that lot. You have to back in off the avenue. And I know there's one in Boston like that too.
Wasn't it Trucker John who did the video of it?
Yeah, Trucker John did a video of that one in Boston where you have to blindside off of an avenue into a dock, blocking traffic. There's also one in Detroit where we took the mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
We were
like LaGrasso or something like that, LaGrasso Brothers.
Yeah,
something Brothers.
Little dodgy having to go in. It's one of these old brick buildings that you have to like go into the actual building through this brick arch door thing. I've met him several times. A great mindset. Yeah. So Ross, we have not met Rob Lowe, but Johnson's Logic has. So read his comment. Good stories. Thank you. Quarter trailer inside the building. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Restaurant Depot. We will not do Restaurant Depot. Period.
That was on the list of don't do's.
Yeah, my trainer, when I upgraded, I asked my trainer, I said, give me a list of don't do's. And the first thing he said was Restaurant Depot.
Is that a Peterbilt hat?
Yes, it is a Peterbilt hat. Hey, John. What's up, trucker? Is that
Candy cane?
That's hilarious. She doesn't get that reference because she's too young, but I'll oftentimes be like, hey, Candy Cane. Is that you, Candy Cane? I definitely get that reference. I hate places where they have day cabs parked everywhere and it's already tight. Yes. US Foods does that. Like the one in Tampa. Oh, it's so annoying. Like that is parked trailers all over the place.
That cold storage in, what is it, Miraloma, California, where they just like parked them all along the line.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man. US Foods is notorious for that, parking day cabs all over the place right in front of docks. And that one in Miraloma, they have other places where they can park, but they park there because they don't want to walk too far to the office.
Hey, Tim.
we literally watched that happen. 10-4, good buddy, Smokey's out.
Or I ain't got no panties on. You get that one on the CB a lot.
Is the percentage of drop and hook what you expected when you joined Prime? Yeah. I would say so. I think probably. I think we pick up a lot of drop and hooks. We drop a lot of live loads because, you know, if you're picking up from meat plants, a lot of those are drop and hooks, but you're usually taking those to a Walmart or a grocery outfit, and most cases you're probably not going to drop and hook on that end. So that's what's up. Sounds like a
got ourselves a convoy.
Pulling out the old references. Yeah, those are definitely old references. I don't know them all though. All right, we're up on an hour. So if you guys do get a chance, please, I hate saying it, but please hit that like button. We'd very much appreciate it.
Go like Johnson's Logic if you haven't already liked him. He's cool people. Do it all, trucker.
Rhett says, when's the next single dropping? You know, I'm working on it. That last one went platinum, so I'm just going to let that one percolate through society and culture around the world for, you know, the next 6 to 12 months.
Please don't.
And then I'll drop another single. So
I was so embarrassed because like
talk to my agent.
The worst part of that video is like he told me what he wanted to do, and I'm like, okay, well, I don't want any part of this, and he's like, but you have to record it. So I had to like take it seriously and get those shots. Like when he's in the bunk and he's laying there, I was literally like, well, it goes back to me being bendy in a weird contorted, like, you know, position at the foot of the bed to get the angle where he's laying there with the stupid I Love Beaver hoodie and all of that.
Yeah, this is the film crew for my my platinum rap single video. So she got a lot of awards and accolades for that too. Let's see. If you could do it again when you go to Prime, of course. Hell yeah. So glad I went to Prime. Man, I'm so glad I went to Prime. And Prime wasn't the only one that I was calling, and not the only one who was calling me. As Jenna can testify, we talked to a lot of companies and talked to a lot of recruiters, and it just Prime. Oh, I'm so glad. So glad we came to Prime. Would definitely, it's knowing what I know now, I would not have even talked to any other companies. I would have just went straight to Prime and only talked to Prime, knowing what I know now. Yes, absolutely happy with Prime. Great labs. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it. You got a long way to go and a short time to get there. You got your ears on, Snowman. That's hilarious. You got your ears on. Stay cool on the stool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Wait, see your jingle bells. Yeah, I talked to my agent about the Jingle Bells single. We're gonna save that for 21. Glad you guys found a home. Nice to hear Prime cares. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much. Again, getting back to the beginning of our video, if you want to talk smack, please do it in at least 3 or 4 comments. That helps our videos rank well. It doesn't bother us at all. We laugh at it. We like to. There's, people who like to take time to talk smack and criticize others. I enjoy it. So keep that going. Jenna is alive and well. Still can drive the truck until, or for the foreseeable future. We have to go back for another test for her in January. I'm hoping that. And thank you guys so much for the well wishes. I mean,
yeah, it does mean a lot to me. Like, I was a little bit frustrated with someone for even really bringing it up and everything like that, because I don't like to talk about myself, but it did really lift my spirits and stuff to see that you guys all care so much and everything. So
yeah,
thank you.
Literally tons of comments and text messages. Like Ross Johnson's Logic, like texting us that day while we were at the hospital.
Yeah,
thinking about you guys. So that's
he called because he was irritated that I didn't tell him right away. It's like we had just gotten the door, and then Ross and Do It All called me up on 3-way, and they're just like, all right, girl, like, you haven't told us what's going on. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah, so good stuff. Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much, man. Thanks for joining in with us. Go, if you haven't, I think probably most of you have, but if you haven't, go over to Johnson's Logic. He's got
Trucker John and Do It All.
Well, Johnson's Logic, we did live with him last night. So that specific video, I was there at Oasis with him. But yeah, Bearded Fat Man, Do It All, Million Mile Man, Trucker John, Johnson's Logic. There's so many, man, go watch a Million Mile Man's videos if you want to find new Prime YouTubers. I don't know how that dude does it, but he's finding new YouTubers like every week that are at Prime that I didn't know were on YouTube. So, definitely get connected and watch as many of these channels as you can. Every view, every like, every thumbs up is huge support. And again, if you do end up seeing this video, Southern Belle, sorry about the COVID positive test. Hopefully things go well for you. But welcome to Prime. It's good to have you, on there. So, all right, Hopper. Really, you guys don't have to post this video. You really don't have to. Yes, we do. That's the whole point.
And Brian, you guys aren't just subscribers. You guys are friends. Like, we care about you guys just as much.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks. Have a good night. Be safe. Make good decisions. And as always, drive to thrive. Talk to you soon.